This is a men's roundtable. It's a safe space where the brothers get together and talk about serious issues. I know y'all see us have fun and talk about entertainment and sports, but we want to give y'all something a little bit different, man. We want to actually show the brothers that we are more valuable together than separately. So we're going to come on here on a regular basis and talk about different things, marriage, life, business, the corporate world. We got a myriad of topics, and I'm going to have a myriad of special guests. So today's topic, we actually going to jump into here in a second. But before we do that, I want to introduce everybody. And I'm actually going to go in the order of who I've known the longest. That's probably the easiest way to keep up with this. I got my man, Mike, the expert. Mike and I grew up together. We've known each other the majority of our lives now at this point. So, Mike, would you want to say hi to the people real quick?
Hey, what's going on? I'm known as Mike the expert. What you call it? Yeah, me and KP, we've been friends for a long time. We grew up basically brothers. I know a couple of other people on here. Adam, Dominique. Just meeting the other two brothers, but know a few of y'all grew up with one of y'all, and I mean we got a lot to say, and we just gonna put it all out there today. That's basically it.
Facts. All right, so next in line would be my man Dominic Jones. Me and Dominic went to Xavier University of Louisiana. Put some respect on XU. We up here, we represent XULA all day. Golden Nuggets, stand up. So that's been my guy since day one. Dom been my roommate. He been my best friend. Yes, Gold Rush, bro. You know what I'm saying? We Sneaker Brothers. And Dom's super proud of him. And Dom, just tell him a little bit about you. And, I'm going to let you introduce what you do for a career yourself.
All right. Happy to be here. Thank you for the invite. Look forward to having these high-level conversations. I'm an attorney. I primarily practice in family law. So I deal with these type of family relationship type situations every day. And I see people at their worst. And sometimes their best when, they get the outcome that they really wanted. So, happy to provide some insight to this panel and, hopefully we can do many of these.
Yes, sir. All right, next in line is my boy Cam. I don't know Cam well over a decade now. It don't seem like it, but it's been like that. My guy Cam, we actually met. We used to kind of be running the streets, and we got a lot of similar friends. And Cam was always a brother. Anytime I called on him, he just show for me. We would actually be doing fashion shows and parties, and every time he was very supportive. So Cam, tell the people a little bit about yourself real quick.
Yo, what's going on? My name's Cam. Graphic artist, graphic design, Soul Simplicity Design Publishing. KP reached out to me with the discussions, and I wanted to be a part of the conversation. I'm always willing to be a part of anything that somebody's got going on a positive note. Just wanted to be a part and share my insight on it. Know a couple of brothers out here. I know Mike G. Go back, like we say, we got mutual friends. One of my good friends I've known for years. Actually, we ended up knowing each other and running in the same circles and everything like that. So, to be a part. Nice to meet Mike, Adam, and Dom.
And if y'all don't know, he's real humble about this. But my guy got one of the best clothing lines of all time. So definitely check him out. We're going to have more of that on some other shows and different things like that. But, yeah, dope line. Then I got to go to my man Adam. Me and Adam actually used to go to church together. And our wives were friends first. And then me and him bonded over Wu-Tang. And, everything was everything after that. So, Adam, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hey, appreciate the invite. I'm glad to be here. I enjoy real talk conversations. That's one of my favorite things to do. And we actually still go to the same church, Kevin. But
yes, we do.
I got two kids. I am a family man. I got a wife. Those are my priorities in life. I take that seriously. In regards to also my relationship with God and my relationship with my wife first, right? So, and then my kids come after that. So, I'm glad to be a part of this conversation and share some different points of view, and with good brothers.
Yes, sir. And this guy is a high level executive. Plus, he representing for the brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi, so we appreciate that. Don representing for the brothers of Alpha as well. Don't want to leave him out like that. You know, I don't want to play no favorites. Okay, so you know, y'all could do your thing. And then I got my man Michael Goggins on here. This is my man, 180 grand. I'm talking about every time I have ever called on him, he don't showed up, no matter where it is. I could be down and out in another state, and Mike Goggins gonna pull up and make sure I'm good. Plus, he always got a good nugget for me. And so, again, like Cam said, we have similar friends that we didn't even know for a while, that we were all in the same circles and same places together. And me and Mike have bonded over the years and been real good friends. He always has a good vitamin for the brothers. So let's go ahead and put some respect on your name, Mike, and introduce yourself to the people. And don't be too humble about that logo right there. I'm going to let you speak on that first.
Hello, what's hard?
Gotcha. Well, first of all, I'm grateful to be in this space today. Grateful to be with you, brothers. My name is Michael Goggins. I am a designer. Clothing line is called Fresh Division. But I guess more important than that, I'm a huge mental health advocate. So I love having these conversations. Love having possibly uncomfortable conversations with the common goal of being to grow brothers and grow the mindset. So I'm happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, again, I want to thank each and every one of y'all for joining us. This is, again, the first forum. We're going to have more of these. But this first one, the topic that we really want to jump into, the brother KB Bo, not too long ago, posted a video on Instagram. So first off, who kind of want to address that and kind of tell me how that makes you feel to hear brothers basically saying that, you know, they're more valuable not being here than being here? I'm going to throw it to you first, Cam.
Well, to me, I think what it all boils down to, whether it's, you know, you sacrificing your life for that 1 million, or whether you are alive and you just have to do things on a daily day basis, it's all about sacrifice, right? So it's just amount of, to me, I think it's just levels to it. I just think it's people's circumstances, situations that they're in, for them to feel like they would do that. I was on the fence when I was listening to it, because at first, initially, I was like, yeah, I would do that. But then I started thinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I do that, then it's done. You know, there's relationships and things that you have with your family. Like, you know, me and my wife, I hate this show, but she got me into it. It said, Love is Blind, that joint on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched that one.
She got me watching it, you know what I mean? And it's in it. Yeah. And it's entertaining, you know what I mean? But one of the things, because my wife, she didn't grow up with her father. And so one of the things that really got to her was the fact that, you know, the ladies, even though they met these guys in the course of the time that they did, their fathers were willing to walk them down the aisle. And she never had that experience. So that's one of the things that made me think about, you know, if I sacrifice my life, you know, at the end of the day, you know, there's things and experiences that my daughter will want to have that she's not going to be able to have with me, you know, at the end of the day. I make sacrifices now, but, you know, it's just a matter of wondering if I'm willing to make a sacrifice for everything and her, you know, missing out on opportunities and things that she's had in her life that I could have been a part of, you know. So it's that element. So, I mean, personally, you know, it's just, I'm on the fence on it. I understand the sacrifice part of it, but I also feel like, you know, there's other things that I can be here for that I would still have to sacrifice if I was alive. If that makes any sense.
I feel that. Dom, how do you feel about that, man? I mean, you're a person, and you know, I know you kind of come into situations with the family law where you see people kind of break up over money or money is exchanged, and you see these things. And I know you grew up with both your parents. Do you feel like you'd be more valuable to your family and it could be more than $1 million, a certain dollar amount, or more valuable there and present with them?
No, definitely more valuable in the present. I do feel that, although, yeah, $1 million is a good amount of money. I
Hmm.
think that just actually the effect of being there in your children's lives is just more important than the value of money that can provide them with a life. Because also, yeah, it can provide them with a certain lifestyle, but they're still not going to be taught certain values that having both parents in the household is really important to. So I mean, and there's even statistics that have said that they've done, I don't know the exact numbers, but when they focused on the success rate in regards to, I don't know what they regards of success or what they say that is success, but it said that um, both parents or even just a single father um, can lead more to success than just a single mother. Now, I can't quote exactly say where that's from or whatever, but I remember I just recently saw that and it just kind of like made me step back and say, look how much we bring to the table other than just our ability to provide. Okay. It's just
Right.
like, I mean, and whether it's males or females, I mean, we're able to teach our daughters, for the future. So when they are dealing with young men, we can kind of give them, what to look out for and what to, you know, basically, not be dealing with. Or in with our sons, we can teach them, certainly how to be a man and so forth. So, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, and it's nothing to say that single mothers can't do it on their own, but there's literal statistics that say that both parents in the home, you know, leads to a different type of life, and I did grow up with both of my parents in the home, and you know,
Hmm.
um, it, it was, I can't really say that if it was just my mom there, I would be in the position that I'm at because I do lean on my dad for a lot of things I cannot talk to my mom about. Okay. And then vice
Right.
versa.
Right.
Okay, so it's like a lot of times with my mom, she's the one who has kind of helped me when I got a new apartment. She helped me kind of design it or stuff. My dad's not into that, but yet still I can lean on my dad for when I get into trouble or, when I've had to deal with situations to where, I felt like maybe I failed or I lost a job or whatever, I lean on him for that.
Right.
So, these are both really big positives when you are able to kind of have both parents in the home that just money just won't solve.
Hmm.
Exactly. So, Mike Goggins, let me ask you this: why do you think that, and especially with brothers in kind of the current world that we live in now, that we've devalued ourselves so much that, or maybe be in so much pain that we like, you know what? If somebody could just write a check and my family good, I'll just rather do that, man. Why do you think brothers find themselves in this situation these days? Is it more devaluing themselves, or is it more about maybe I don't know how to handle all the mental trauma I've been through? Which one do you think it is?
I think it's both. And I guess the first thing is I truly empathize and understand where that might be coming from, first and foremost. But I do think it's a based on the definition. I think it's ignorant. And when I use the word ignorant, I use it in the truest definition of the word. And I think that
Okay.
shit's a little bit selfish because I think about oftentimes black men or just men in general. We think about playing checkers, not chess. Because
Hmm.
let's
Okay.
just say $1 million and you're gone, the likelihood of the mother being financially responsible with that $1 million. What if she blew that $1 million? What if she got scammed? What if anything happened and she was not a millionaire no more? Now
Hmm.
you're off the
Right.
globe, and you're in the same. Your household is in the same predicament.
Hmm.
So, like what Dominic said, there's true data around having both of these parents in the home, and I think there's a currency related to raising my child. There's currency related to
Mm-hmm.
being there for his first dance, how to tie shoes, how to tie a tie, how to um, how to say no or how to not harass women. Like there's currency related to that. So I think oftentimes we're thinking about, if it's $1 million, I'll do it. But again, first of all, if there's not any education, there's not any financial literacy, it's a high probability they will, that money won't be the dream that we think it is.
Wow.
So I think it's a
I love that point
because again we're playing checkers because that's the next move. We're not thinking about 4 or 5 years ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Like Cam said, also, like you have a woman, you have a girl, and you have a girl and you have a boy. That man needs to be in the household, or that woman needs to be in the household to help that person become the person that they are. Because again, like Dominic said, there's true data behind both parents being in the home, and someone understanding what a man is, someone understanding what a daughter is, and what we all know. We all can have examples of women that grew up in an environment without a dad, and we know how they sometimes are. And so you can't. There's a currency related to that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So and which is important. So that's more than $1 million because you can mess around and be pregnant at 16. Then you add up the money that you've spent with raising a child from 16 years old. So again, I empathize where they come from, but I think we're thinking about checkers, not chess.
That's a fact.
I like that a lot, man. And I had to be kind of, real transparent with it. My dad, we didn't always have the best relationship. There's times that he's been there and times he hasn't. And to Dominic's point, man, it makes a big difference when your pops is around and active in your life. Or if you have a male, whether it's your uncle, your grandfather, somebody, it could be your older brother. Sometimes that helps. And it's kind of interesting, too, that when I look at it as a young person, y'all probably agree we all close to the same age, right? For those of us, in certain ways, hip hop raised us. You know what I'm saying? So we get information and advice from Snoop Dogg or Tupac, and they not that much older than us and not that wise. When you go back and kind of listen to some of the things that we listen to, you're like, man, that dude really wasn't that smart. Why was I even listening to that? Why I take advice from that person? Mm-hmm. So that makes a good point. So, Adam, let me throw it to you, man. I know you have a son and a daughter, man. Is there a dollar amount that you feel that you'll be more valuable to your family, whether it's $1 million, $20 million, that would make them better off as opposed to you being active or being
there? No, man, I was fortunate enough to have my father in my life too, both parents. And that experience is just invaluable. You can't put a price tag on that. To what everyone shared, right? You learn so much from what a woman should be, what a man should be. As a man, with a man in the house, I learned how to handle situations, right? Just from watching him. Even now, I can fall back and ask him such questions. And with all the other men in my life, I think you spoke a good point, right, on the culture, right? So the culture has shifted. And, we got the money over everything culture, right? And money is important, true, right? We all think about life insurance, I'm sure. So when we do leave this earth, we can leave something behind. So that you can't just say, you can't just knock people for it. However, right, even if we had nothing, us as men being there for our families, even if we was living out of our cars, would still have invaluable influence on our kids and on our family, right? As a protector. Not just a provider. I keep running across more and more situations where I'm seeing guys not be present, but they are high earners and they provide everything that the family wants. They've got everything, but they're just not present. They're checked out.
Right.
And I see that impacting the kids. I see how the wives, it impacts the wives. And I think it really sums up, right? So legacy is more than just monetary. We think legacy is just leaving some assets behind, leaving some money behind, but leaving a legacy is so much more than just what they got in their pockets. What's their mindset? What are they going to take forward with their families? That's legacy right there.
Wow, that's great, man. You're right, man. I guess it's so interesting when we talk about legacy. Almost every time it's about what money somebody has or what assets they have, or we talk about generational wealth. Generational wealth is always mentioned in terms of money, not necessarily life lessons. So my man, Mike the Expert, you have 2 sons. One of them, man, I remember when my nephew was born, man. That was the coolest thing. He used to come and sit with us. Me and Mike would be doing our radio show. He'd be right there with us. And I mean, and Mike had a kid before me. So, and I used to just love watching him and his son interact with each other. Let me ask you this. I know everybody has kind of given their opinion. I'm going to ask you a little bit different question. What do you think the impact to your sons and your wife would be if you weren't there and they got, a 7-figure, reimbursement for you? Let's say it was $20 million. What do you think they would miss out on with you not being there?
Oh man, wow. The money wouldn't even really mean anything to them because it's really just the presence of having me around, of having my kids having their father around. I mean, just the other day when we were playing, I got in the game. I don't really like Minecraft. The kids love it, but I played with them a couple of days ago. When we were on the game, I played for a little while. I got off. I was getting off, and then I looked at them, and they started getting off. And I was like, well, why are y'all getting off? I'm allowing y'all to play for a little bit longer. And they told me, well, the only reason we were on because we wanted to play with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that they just wanted to do something with their dad right then. It's not about the money. We don't sit around and have conversations about money all the time or anything like that. They just want to have that experience, that time with their dad. Me personally growing up, I didn't have my father in my life. He, I've only seen him 2 times in my life. And then the last time I saw him, he died. So, so I understand, how critical that is to have that in your life, to be able to spend that time with your father. And like Mr. Goggins down there said, basically, you might get that money and then, spend it all up, waste it. Then they don't have their dad or the money. So I mean, really, money's not everything. I grew up, I never had $1 million. My family never had $1 million, and I've lived a great life. I did everything growing up. And it was just me and my mom. So no, I feel having me in their life is probably the most important thing, more important than money. That goes for both my wife and my kids. So yeah, well, definitely.
Wow, that's a great point that you bring up, man. We don't even. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was going to say, Mike I agree with everything Mike said. And I was also going to say, I thought about something else in regards to that, to it being selfish. Because I think with that scenario, again, I empathize, but for the brothers that said that, they're sort of selling themselves short. Because how you know that, because what you're saying is you won't be able to do that. You can't make $1 million. So right. That's where the selfishness comes in there. Because if anything, that should make you go harder to get $1 million if that's the goal that you want in your head. So versus me transitioning myself and you getting it instantly, what's the value in my children seeing me hustle to get that money? Because there's value in that also. There's value in my kids seeing me hustle to get this money and make it. So I think that's the easy way out. You're selling yourself short. Because what you're saying is you're not able to get that. You can't do that by yourself, and that's not fair to the brothers that did that.
And I think too.
I think Adam made a very valid point too. Adam made a very valid point too. I thought about it as he said it. Yeah, what he was saying about health and life insurance. I mean, if something's going to happen to you anyway, they're going to get the benefit of that. So why are you selling yourself short of, doing that for the sake of your kids or whatnot? You know what I mean? But that goes down. I guess that's a whole nother topic where we just need to educate ourselves when things do happen like that. That our family and our kids will be taken care of. But that was to me, that's a very valid point.
Let me ask y'all this.
I would have just
This brought up 2 real good points to me. So I think it's 2 separate things. We go talk about both of them real quick. So the first one it brought up to me is and Dom and Adam, I want y'all both to join in on this one. Why in our community especially, and even just as men, why do we always think that generational wealth is always money and not necessarily lessons? And why do we tend to lean that way more so than thinking about kind of like what Goggins said, my dad taught me how to tie a tie. That stood out to me. My mom had to teach me how to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I was embarrassed about as a kid that has stuck with me my whole life. and it was interesting. And I'm gonna let y'all jump in here. One of my dad's frat brothers, he's like an uncle to me. This guy is super successful, have had all these businesses. He's a multi-millionaire. And one of his advices to me was like, yo, make things regular for your kids. Instead of you doing things based on what you didn't have, just make it regular that they have you. And I was like, man, that's so valuable that we don't think about that. We'll think, make it regular that I bought you something or I took you to this particular place. I took you to Disney World, not necessarily the time. So what is the barrier you think that happens with men that causes that? Go ahead, Dom. You can jump on that one first, and Adam.
Um, I would say that, well, here's the thing too. What I kind of wanted to kind of say is really that although um, the time is like they say, time is money. Okay, so um, I don't really know why well, actually I do now that I think about it. So our money though to us nowadays, I mean, you got to understand we're kind of new to making maybe being in the middle class and upper high middle class. If you look at the generations in regards to that, I mean, some of us are first generation college students, some of us are second generation. We're not, you know,
Right.
of 100 years of, not working outside of, professional jobs. And so, although, there were some people, there was very minimal. So it's like, we're kind of just basically, this is new money to us. We're new money. Okay. So it's like now it's like all we're thinking of is just really trying to, um, break these type of barriers. The problem is though, is that sometimes when, you work for the money, other things can drop off. And that's in regards to your time and your family life. And the good thing is, that you got to know how to be able to balance that. Because although I did have a father, let's say, I did have a father in mind. He's a doctor, and his job is extremely, um, demanding. Okay, he was out of the home a lot. He was on call a lot. Okay, so he missed, basketball games. He missed some of my sister's ballet performances because he was either on call. um, he's missed many trips that we've taken where it's just been me, my sisters, and my mom. But, in his eyes, he was like, well, I'm the one supporting y'all and able for y'all to have that type of life. But, you know, it's like, dang, but we didn't have these experiences with him though. Yeah, he's making the money and we're able to go to these extravagant places, but you weren't here with us, you know? So, and I
Right.
think that that's probably a lot of what it is because we are kind of like new to this life, essentially.
So let me ask you this before I let Adam
Yeah,
jump in, man. Does that make you want to do something different with your own kids? Because you got kids, and do
absolutely.
you want to try to do something to
Yes.
break that cycle?
Yes, because
Awesome.
I focus a lot, not just on the salary that I make, I focus on the flexibility of my job and my work life balance. Okay. So like for instance, if I can get a job that where I can work more remote to where I can just finish work and then I can go be with my daughters, yes. Or can I do a job to where, we can go on trips and I don't have to use a bunch of PTO, but I can work, somewhere in a remote office and not have to actually go into an office, and then I can actually, when I'm finished with work, then I can be there and we can walk the Great Wall of China. Great. That's what I'm thinking I'm focused more on. And it's actually a lot of times the work life, to me, is even more important a lot of times than the salary. Because you know what? The salary is important, but I feel like we can have, we need to have multiple streams of income. Let's just be honest. We don't need to be focused just on our 9 to 5
Right.
or our job or one job. We need to have other things to where you're not so, so much let's say, well, you know, I can pick and choose in regards to a salary. Like I don't have to take this job that's going to be super demanding just to pay me this salary so I can have less time with my children. I'll just make other streams of income to start this to supplement so that I can have that flexible job. So I think that's what I've been focused on because of the life that I saw my dad live.
That's awesome, man. A lot of people don't sit back and take that. I remember that even with my mom. You know, she's a computer programmer and very successful. And people don't remember that.
Nice.
They think more about, oh, I was able to get this or these any games or anything. But there were times where I was like, man, I just wish she was around. I could ask her this or we could talk about that, so on and so forth. So, you know, she was busy too. So I get that, man. And it's like a lot of us kind of skip that and think straight to, but I paid for college. You know what I'm saying? We skipped that. So so Adam, let me ask you this, bro, because you've been in the corporate world for a long time. I know you've moved around a lot and positioned yourself well, and you have kids too. Do you find it hard for you to kind of put the priorities in the right place so that you are still there and and not missing things?
Nah, first let me say I'm not an executive, right? You put me on executive level earlier. I'm not that type of role.
Speak it into existence, man.
Right. Hey, look, I've been in with the same company for 18 years now, right? And people look and be like, man, you should be running the place by now and all this. I mean, and I get that. I get where that comes from. Keep trying to go up and keep trying to earn. But I also observe the lifestyle that some of the other men have who are in those places. They're not there for their kids like I would like to be there for my kids, right? And so Dom hit it on the head for me, right? That's my goal right now is making sure I can have a good work-life balance. I don't want to have to get calls in the middle of the night. I don't want to have to work on the weekends. I want to be able to work with them, do my stuff, and be able to be there for my family because that's my first priority. Now, don't get me wrong. If I can get the increase and the new position that's going to give me that, I'm gonna go that route if it fits within my family route, my family's lifestyle, and what I need from my family. To answer your question about right, why do we go to the money first? I mean, Dom said it too, right? It's generational. You know, we're new money, so we've come from generation to generation of we got to get money so we can make ends meet. So now going into the next, I need to make it happen for my kids so they can make ends meet. So now the next kids come along. Well, Dad made sure we were provided for. I'm gonna make sure my family's provided for, no matter what. And so somewhere that cycle's got to be broken. For me and my experience and the beauty of this thing right here is everybody here has different backgrounds and experiences. For me, my dad was there. He worked for the power companies. He worked hard.
Wow.
He's not my biological father, but he's been there raising me since I was 1, right? And been there with my mother. He's been there for every game, everything, vacations and everything. I do remember him having to go off on call when storms to take the power out and stuff like that. But I never remember him not being there, right? And not being there. And as I look back, his dad, which is my granddad, is not his Biological father either. And I'm just now remembering that. It's not his biological father. He raised him the same way. He was always there. So that just shows me the impact that one man can have on the next boy, to impact his manhood and how he raised. So now I have this strong sense of being there to not only provide for my family, but be there for my family. Multiple streams of income gives you that flexibility. So, Dom just laid it all out, right? So I know that, I need to continue to provide. My family is going to continue to need. And in order to have that additional flexibility and additional comfort, I got to figure out how to make some other passive incomes. And my kids can see how I put that together. And that creates a legacy of not only of entrepreneurship and earning, but also being there
and
as
I
a
really
family
love
unit
what you said
and
about
taking
the
care
legacy.
of what's really important.
You know what I'm saying? That to me is generational wealth. You got your grandfather that stepped up and he was a man and raised his son, and then passed that example on to your father, who's passed it on to you. I really love that because I think that is more generational wealth than just money. Quick question I want to throw out, especially to Mike and to Adam real quick. And I got something else I want y'all other brothers to chime in on real quick. When y'all make these decisions about work, do y'all think more of like, do you talk to the wife and get her involved? Or is this like, yo, this is going to bring us more money, I'm going to go ahead and run that? Do y'all have that conversation together, or you go ahead and just make the decision?
I'll have the conversation. I'll talk about it. I kind of already have my decision made up in my head, but, I'll still talk about it, have the conversation, have the conversation, everything, but I kind of already know what I'm going to do. Don't get me wrong. Money is important. Don't get me wrong. It's important. You got to be able to pay your bills. You want your kids to see you, doing your thing and going to make the money. So it's important. But the biggest thing, even though I didn't have my father in my life, I did have my uncle. And, my uncle didn't have a lot of money or anything. It wasn't even about that. It was just the way I act now. Like KP, how like I'm sometimes loyal to a fault, right? I'm just an extra loyal person. I'm always down with you. Yeah, I got that from my uncle. That was his thing. He instilled that in me. And now you go to my kids, you go talk to my kids now, and you go up to one of my kids and say, hey, what does Michael do on a daily basis? What is he doing? My kid will look at you and be like, go ask my dad. Don't ask me no questions about my dad. You know what I'm saying? It's just that loyalty. I grew up like that. Now my kids are like that, but they see that. So it's just, that's what's more important than the money. It's just, them seeing your character, seeing how you are, seeing your drive. So that's what's really important to me. But that other question about talking it over with the wife, I talk about everything with my wife, basically, but, in situations like that, especially when it comes to the money and all that and going to make money and, I dibble and dab in a lot of different things, real estate and just everything. And, most of those decisions.
Cam, you got something you want to say, bro.
Talk to her because I respect her opinion, but
right.
What's going to happen is going to happen. So
no, I'm saying I agree with him. I mean, it's a lot of times it's like that. You already know, kind of have it planned out as far as what it is that you want to do, but you want to include your wife to make sure you want to include them to make sure that they feel included in the decision of things that you make in your home too. But for me, it's a little different in my situation because my wife, she's a flight attendant. And so a lot of decisions, things where she's gone, I'm the one that pretty much running and operating everything when she's gone. I run my own business and everything. So I know how that is, when she comes back. And I've already made the decision in my head how I'm going to handle it. Or, decision is already made, but you got to sway it or say it in such a way that, that they're included on it and that they kind of made the decision, I guess. But you pretty much made the decision for everything.
I don't want to get nobody in trouble.
I can relate to what he's saying.
We're going to turn a little bit different direction. And Goggins, I want you to kind of start out. And everybody jump in on this because this is the one I think that we kind of have not touched on, man. And Cam, I love how you and Mike, y'all minds made up. I don't know. Sometime mine is, sometime it isn't. We discuss it, but that's a topic for a different day. That's a different show. So you know what, Cam, you gave me an idea. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that on another forum. But one of the things I want to kind of get back to that I think we missed out on, and Mike touched on a little bit, bro. Like, what is? I think we kind of missing the point of brothers are in an emotional trauma where they feel so overwhelmed. They'll rather just, you know what, let me step out. Plus, my family gonna get a bag, and I'm gonna be okay, or they gonna be okay. Mm-hmm. What do we need to do different as brothers and men to support one another and start having these conversations and making sure the brothers are good? Because I bring this to you specifically, Goggins, because you big on mental health and balancing yourself, and I know you spend a lot of time intentionally every day in prayer and meditation, and that's not something that we hear a lot of brothers do. We don't hear a lot of brothers say, man, I went to therapy. When I went, this dude was the biggest advocate. He was like, yes, KP, I'm so happy that you go. You know what I'm saying? So where are we missing the boat where we not really having those conversations and really checking in with brothers on that?
Oh, that's respect.
Excellent question. I think the first thing is we have to realize that most of the attributes and the characteristics that we were taught as far as manhood was wrong. That's the first thing. Most of the things that we were taught in regards to what we see as being a man was wrong.
Mm.
That's the first thing we have to realize. Once we do that, then we can realize this in regards to being in touch with our feelings, being in touch with our emotions. Because again, one of the things that we've been taught is that men should show their emotions, which means everything in. And of course, that's not right, because there's data behind that. There's data behind you keeping your emotions in. You know, and just for example, one of the things that I'm gonna say black men specifically, like I do not know of a subset of men in any other culture or race that takes so much pride in not crying. Like a brother will tell you when the last time they cried, and they'll hold it like a badge of honor. I ain't cried since my mama died in '81. I ain't cried. You know what I'm saying? So that's ignorant, and that shit is stupid. And it's because of those small characteristics we hold this idea of manhood as something that's not really true. So because of that, black men we have the highest percentage. Black men have the highest percentage of suicides. Yeah, we don't have the largest, but we have the fastest growing percentage of suicide. So, and that is because black men specifically, our idea of manhood is truly skewed. So, being that we have this trauma that we have this trauma that we haven't processed. We don't know how to be in touch with our emotions. We hold everything in. We have this super ego that we have that's full of bullshit. All of those characteristics allow us to be in the state where we would take the easy way out and take that money because we don't want to be man enough to process it and bring that other generational curse, which is changing the aspect of what a man is. Like, because there's data. Because I do data statistics. Like, there's data behind when those tears come out your eyes. There's data behind that. That's healing. But black men, we want to keep everything in, and we directly and indirectly show that to our boys and our kids. Don't cry, be a man. So we're already grooming them up to do the same dumb shit that we do.
I love that, man, because I remember that, and I'm sure all of y'all.
That's why we are like that.
Mike, you have a son, and Adam, you have a son. I remember probably being in the second grade playing baseball, and I went to steal second, and the first baseman tried to throw me out and hit me in the back with the ball, and my back was like purple and black. And my dad, I'm crying. He like, wipe your tears off, man. Quit crying, man. Be a man. I'm like, okay, like, but this really hurts. And he like, yo, that don't make any sense. Like, and it, right. That makes no sense. I'm in the second grade, but also, Adam, your son is what, he's like 7 now, 6. Okay. What sense does that make to tell your son to be a man at 6?
6.
Most of us learn how to be a man. We might be 40. He's 6. I ain't gonna tell him to be. And you know what we do? And Cam, jump in this too. We'll call our son and be like, "That's my little man." And little man, like, yo, he's a kid. He can't be a man at 6. It's not possible. It's not possible. He can't do no man stuff at 6. So what do y'all think about that, man? On the trauma and passing on that toxic be a man.
So yeah, man. Look, I'm intentional. I'm intentional with my word choice. I'm trying to be more intentional with that, right? So I'll call him a young man.
Wow.
Or I'm intentional about calling him a prince, and I'll tell him you're in training to be a king, right? And I'm intentional about that. Same thing with my daughter. I tell her you're a princess, you're not a queen. You're a princess. You're in training to be a queen, right? And she's adopted that now, understanding that. Like, look, you ain't running nothing around here, right? But to your point, right? Be a man, right? Suck it up, stop crying. I catch myself with that sometimes because he plays sports and he'll get hurt. It depends on what he's crying about too, right? If you crying about something because you didn't get your way, I'm like, nah, dry that up. I know you upset, right? Let's breathe through it, right? I'd be upset too. Let's breathe, get your emotions together, and let's move forward, right? So I talk through it like that. If you want to cry, fine. Right? Your emotions are valid. I'm not trying to say they ain't valid, but you got to learn how to deal with it so that you can move forward and don't get stuck where you are. Same thing with my daughter, right? We have conversations. You have control of your emotions, right? You feel a way. I get it. I would feel that way too, but you have to control your
Wow, that's
emotions and not let them take over you to have you doing dumb stuff and getting in situations you don't want to be in, right? So that's me trying to change that narrative of be a man, stop crying, or suck it up, right? All right, let's learn how to deal with it
that's dope.
and
That's
move
dope.
forward. This is
Cam,
what it
I'm gonna bring
is.
it to you real
Here's how
quick,
you
and then
deal with
bring
it.
it to Mike,
Now
the
let's move
expert.
forward.
Cam, one of the things I noticed with you being an illustrator, I see
agree with that.
intentionality in what you do, where you subtly pull in different things that break some of these generational norms about being a man or not being mentally healthy. Was that something you feel like you intentionally did, or you think it just kind of came out? Was it more intentional, or and were you trying to basically kind of start early with kind of passing on more healthy ways to be a man?
No, that's absolutely right, man. Everything is intentional in terms of that because again, we have to change the way that we look at things. I'm all about uh, with the children's books and illustrating and everything. I'm all about representation. Bringing things to issue, then bringing issues and things about that. And it starts at a young age. When we talk about legacy, these are the things that that's part of the legacy in us being aware of. So when we grow up, we can identify these things or whatnot. So it's very intentional. And even when I take on certain stories, I want to
Mm-hmm.
take on because
Mm-hmm.
growing
Mm-hmm.
up, we didn't see too many stories with us in them. You know what I mean? As far as Black people or our community in them, so we got stories to tell too. And so I'm very particular about certain stories that I do take because we need to see ourselves in these situations. We need to see ourselves in these stories and everything. So it's very intentional. We gotta be able to see ourselves in these things so we can work through them and be able to educate,
That's dope.
other
And
young minds and
Mike, the
kids when they,
expert, I want to
when they
throw it to
start to
you.
develop
You
a
got two
relationship with
sons,
things.
and I know you're very involved. You at every tennis match.
Yeah.
Everything that your kids do, you're at. I love that. And Mike actually did something dope. He made an intentionality where his kids are homeschooled because he didn't want anybody just speaking in their ear and telling them some bull junk. But this is one thing I actually want to bring up, and I really want you to speak on this as far as the legacy and how we move and do things different. Mike,
Yeah.
one of his sons actually is a boxer, right? And he specifically told me this story. He said, man, I want him to learn.
Mm-hmm.
This is discipline. This is exercise. But I'm not going to let you get in that ring and actually be fighting nobody at your current age because this could make you have brain damage. And it's crazy. Like, I'm like, dang, man, we don't even be thinking nothing like that. You'll be like, no, let me go in there and you could be knocking people out early. So as far as with you, how did you come to that decision to be like, I'm going to be that level involved and be that thoughtful? Because that doesn't happen a lot. Even with football, we had the kids hitting at 5 years old. The kid might have a concussion. How did you come to that and be able to coach them on, having their emotions and having balance early?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, well, the first thing you said about being involved, that's just important all into itself. Use myself as an example. Growing up, it was just me and my mom, so it wasn't nobody really involved in what I was doing as far as playing basketball and coaching me up and saying this is what you should do, and all that. That just wasn't there. So that was kind of on my own with that one. With my kids, for instance, with the other thing that you asked about with the boxing, it was just common sense with that. You're just learning the box, you're getting into it. You're young, you shouldn't be getting beat in your head. Even adults really shouldn't be getting beat in their head like that. So, for a kid, most definitely, I want them
Mm-hmm.
to grow up, with this, with this full mind and everything. But the biggest thing is just, it was important for me to be there. Talking to my kids, they definitely want me to be there. That's why I go to my kids when I can go to his practices. I'm at all his practices. I'm at his games. Um, at the boxing, when I can go
Mm-hmm.
to their boxing practices, I go there. And then when they're away from that and they're at home, I practice with them. I'm not a tennis player. I didn't grow up as a boxer. I took a little bit of boxing, but I don't know it the way they probably know it now. But, I practice tennis with my oldest son, boxing with both my kids because both of them are in boxing.
That's dope,
so it's
man.
just that time.
That's dope.
Spending that time
well,
with them.
Guys, I appreciate y'all's time today. And before we end this, I want each one of y'all, if you could either say something to a man that is struggling out there that feel like, man, maybe my life insurance is more valuable to me. What would you say to that man? So we're gonna start in the same order who I've known the longest. Actually, no, we're gonna reverse the order. We're gonna stay in the same order, who I've known the longest. So Mike the expert, what would you say to a man that is struggling and feels that way? What would you say to encourage a brother? Yeah, that I feel like, hey, you know what? We having a hard time, and my life insurance is more valuable than me being here. So let me go ahead and be out of here, and they get the life insurance. What would you say to them right now?
Yeah. I mean, really just, try to stick with it. Things get better. I've been on hard times myself, in the past before. And I know money is just not going to fix everything, and I would, like,
Mm-hmm.
I would just show examples, to the person, even, just growing up, how, things in my life got better, but not one time did I have $1 million. There was times I didn't have $100,000, and things got better because of, time that was spent, things that we've done. It's just, life gets better, and you can't really put a dollar.
Ken, what would you say
on your happiness?
Brothers are struggling right now. They feel that possibly the finances is more valuable than them.
Man, I would tell them, man, 'cause we all been there. We all been in situations where we just, shit is seasonal. That's the first thing I would say, man. Things are seasonal, man. I always say this: trust the process. Understand, like, yo, you might be going through this now. This might be a situation where you just feel like you're defeated, but at the end of the day, you got people that's relying on you. You know what I mean? That money, it's like y'all said, it's a temporary fix. There's no guarantee that if something was to happen to you at the end of the day, like that is gonna fix everything. Your life is more valuable, your presence, all of that. Just reflect on the fact that, you know, it's just temporary shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we all go through these things, but we are gonna get through them. And you got a strong support system that them knowing, just reminding them how much you got people that care about you and that love you. That you know what I mean.
I'm gonna
focus
ask
on the relationship.
Adam and Mike Goggins a little bit different question, but in the same vein. So, Adam, you first, and Goggins, I want you to close us out intentionally. So, what would you say to a brother to help them kind of feel like comfortable to start the process of, okay, if I feel this way, what can I do to get help? What would you kind of would you pray for the brother? Would you have words for him? What would you do if a brother came to you and said, "Hey, man, I'm just real messed up right now, and I feel like, man, maybe it's more, the family more valuable without me." What would you say to help them make that first step to better?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna offer to pray for them, right? However, there's application that comes with that too, right? So praying is not the only thing to do. If you really want to be better and be in a better mind space, there's some things you're gonna have to do. Okay, surround yourself with other men that you trust, that you can talk to, and let them know, and get some things off your chest, so that you can, so they can feed life into you, so that they can speak positivity into you and help you through the situations that you're going through. Because you're not the only one going through tough situations. Yeah. So don't put yourself on an island to try to figure stuff out by yourself. So that's step number one, right? Surround yourself with people you can trust and you can talk to honestly and transparently. And don't rob your kids of experiences and life lessons that only you can give them, right? So you can even be transparent with your kids and your family and let them know, look, Dad's struggling right now. I need y'all's help, right? And that shows a lot for being a man. That's being a man and being honest and transparent. They're going to take that forward with
That's
them
dope.
in men that they look for, or men that they
That's
aim
dope.
to be.
And Goggins, I'm gonna let you close this out.
Surround yourself. Find a
What would you say
community
to
you
a
can trust
brother
and speak.
to help them take that first step, being comfortable with maybe going to therapy or, you know, starting to maybe do meditation and just get to know yourself in that way? What would you say?
So I think, I think the first thing I would do is congratulate that brother on being transparent enough to be able to say that shit out loud. So I'm gonna congratulate you on wanting to make that first step. The second thing I would do is, if he's an adult, I will ask him about, before this happened, what was the most tragic time of your life, and then let him tell me how he worked through it, how he overcame that. That was a testimony.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do it again. Like, it's not like you haven't been shown before that you can get through a testimony, you can get through a test. So the main thing is acknowledging that you need some areas of improvement, remembering that whatever you pray to, he's brought you through something already. Well, the Most High has brought you through something already before. And then 3, let's work on that mental health. Work on that mental health. All brothers need to normalize therapy, and all of us need to understand that with human behavior, everyone's different in regards to processing their emotions, and explaining to them the difference of not knowing how to process your emotions. And then if we get technical, I would have them write down the pros and cons of you transitioning yourself. Because I guarantee you the list will be longer if you stay versus if you leave, if you transition. And again, just, like everything you guys said, the value in you being there for your children weighs much more if you stay. And like what Adam said, if you're trying to get $1 million, let's do this life support. This life insurance right now. Let's make sure that when you transition in the age that you're supposed to, that your kids have that money that you're talking about right now. But the main thing is just realizing and understanding the mental health and normalizing taking care of your mental health, so that once you get it down pat, you can be the great man and pass it down to your children. So your children can see what a healthy man looks like that takes care of his mental health outside of his
That's what's up, man. I love it,
that's
man.
A generational crazy.
You see why he the cleanup hitter. You know what I'm saying? My guy came through and hit a home run, man. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Y'all all gave great information, great nuggets. I think this is going to be a blessing to the fellas. I appreciate y'all's time. I appreciate y'all just kind of collabing with me on this, man, because I felt like this was bigger than just me or just us as a group. We had these conversations and, might be 3 of us, 2 of us. I thought it'd be dope to expand the conversation a little bit further and people get the chance to see brothers really talk about this and be honest, man. So I really want to salute y'all and say thank you. Number one, I appreciate each and every one of y'all, each and every one of y'all's words. To y'all's point, and this is kind of stuck to me. Adam brought it up. No man is an island to themselves. So if you don't have a circle of brothers, I would encourage you to do that. I've collected brothers over the years in different circles, and we overlap for different reasons and different things like that. I always wanted to have, a bunch of brothers around me. I feel like we stronger as a unit than separate. And to, some of the points that y'all brought up too, Cam said this, you're not the only one going through this, man. So, there's other people that are experiencing these same things. So just please reach out, to the right person. Surround yourself with a circle of success. And like in all things, there's seasons and things always do improve, man. So I would definitely encourage each and every brother to say that. And I'm going to end it with one of my favorite quotes, man. Potential is mental. You get what you can envision. So envision big, man. It's all out there for you. There is no limit on what we could do. And fellas are going to see more of that because we're going to have Cam back. We're going to have Mike back. We're going to have Adam back. And Mike, the expert, he on everything with me. So y'all definitely going to see us again. Again, thank y'all for joining us for the first forum. Please like and share, subscribe, follow us on all social media. Y'all going to see us again. And like that, we out. We appreciate everybody.